The third round of negotiations between the delegations of Russia and Ukraine has ended in Belovezhskaya Pushcha. On the results of the third round of negotiations between the delegations of Russia and Ukraine. The meeting took place in Belarus, in Belovezhskaya Pushcha. There is a live broadcast from there. A few minutes ago, the Ukrainian delegation left Belovezhskaya Pushcha in helicopters, just like last time. The Russian side must leave it in a motorcade literally any minute. Quite recently, the parties have already approached the press and announced the results of the third round of negotiations, which was held behind closed doors, without the press. There was not even protocol video filming, which took place during the first and second rounds. The only photo was taken, which shows that in front of each delegate from Russia there is a blue folder with documents, some of them have additional stacks of papers. The head of the delegation, Medinsky, has another orange folder in his hands. That is, it is obvious that the Russian side arrived with a package of proposals and refinements under the previous agreements. On the Ukrainian side of the table, there is only a phone and tablet for the head of the delegation and a small folder for the deputy head of the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry. Of course, the most acute problem of humanitarian corridors, which was recently voiced, was on the agenda. This was considered the main achievement of the second round, but in fact the agreements were thwarted by Ukrainian nationalists who do not let civilians out of cities where a humanitarian catastrophe is brewing. And here is what Vladimir Medinsky said following the results of the third round of negotiations on humanitarian negotiations and a ceasefire. Today we discussed for a long time the problem of humanitarian corridors, which we agreed on at the last meeting, but which do not work at all due to the failure of the Ukrainian armed forces to comply with the orders of their command on the ground and IR guides. We put the question point blank, we don't really understand how to explain it, but we hope that these corridors will finally start working from tomorrow. The Ukrainian side assured us of this. In addition to international humanitarian issues, as Medinsky noted even before the start of the meeting, there was a block of 3 components on the agenda. This is also a military block and an internal political settlement, which Medinsky also spoke about following the results of this round. We have already agreed in principle, it will be possible to see at least a protocol, but the Ukrainian side took all these documents home for study, failed to sign something on the spot, and they said that we will return to this issue, probably at the next meeting. To be honest, our expectations from the talks did not come true. But we hope that next time we will be able to take a more significant step forward. Well, here comes the first comment from the Ukrainian side. There are positive steps in the organization of humanitarian corridors, according to Zelensky's office, but no specifics were reached on issues of the ceasefire. And here are the words of a member of the Russian delegation, Leonid Slutsky. Moscow does not flatter itself with the illusion that next time a result will be achieved. But indeed, as it was announced, nevertheless, intensive consultations between the Russian and Ukrainian sides will be continued. It is not yet known exactly where and how soon the next round of negotiations will take place.